Thank you, Pilar, and good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here in kind of a dinner and then discuss the topic that I think is discussed in this city almost in every corner. I think digitalization in different ways, I think that is kind of a top on the kind of agenda in very many respects. And of course I think that I used to work in the DG Information Society, and of course I think my colleagues in DG Connect are working as well. I think that we perhaps from X-Enterprise and then nowadays DG Grow, perhaps we come from the different angle. We come from kind of a non-ICT world, and I think that try to figure out what this kind of digitalization is really for, let's say, traditional industries. But perhaps I think when we look where we are in terms of the industrial development, of course we have been going through kind of a very difficult economic times. We have tried really to, I think, also set certain kind of targets of what should be the kind of industrial share of the GDP. But of course I think that so far we have been more or less sliding backwards and then not really bouncing back. But still I guess that whenever we look certain kind of more detailed figures, and we can say that I think perhaps somewhere we are, I think, quite resilient, and we have been doing relatively well. It's kind of a high value added products and services, where I think that Europe is still, I think that they're having around 40% of their global market share. It's very much of the complex kind of systems and kind of products, and I think that's perhaps where, whenever looking colleagues from Germany, especially I think that where the German industry has been really, I think that kind of mastering the kind of world market. But of course it's not only that, and I guess that it's something that where we can say that I think we are having certain strong industrial heritage that we can build on whenever we think of what the European industries could do. And I think that then to face the challenges like the digitalization, and I think that it's really to capitalize our own old strengths, and I think then build on a new type of the drivers that has to be. And I guess it has been discussed in several occasions that I think that digitalization is not an option. It's something that everybody has to more or less take, that it's the challenge that you have to face, and I think that act upon, and I think that it's something that we then have to, I think that look at who is supposed to do what. And I think that we have, I think that still today kind of a situation where we have been, I think, going through with the industries that I think only 2% of the EU companies, being them industry or service or other sectors, are making full use of all digital or advanced digital technologies. And unfortunately we are having around 40% of the companies that do not use any of them. So that I think that it's an uphill struggle that we have to face. And of course I think that it's certain kind of redesign of European industrial agenda. And of course I think if you look what's ongoing in the member states, I think that there are a lot of national initiatives, starting with the Industry 4.0 or Smart Industry, or I think that basically, if not all of the member states are having certain type of the strategy for industrial development based on digitalization, but basically I would say there are very few that haven't really tried to figure it out. Then comes the question that what is the European Union, what is the Commission, what should we do and what is our contribution? And of course I think that we have said that we have to be ambitious. We have to try to build certain kind of a confidence that this is the way to go, so that I think we have to modernize. We cannot just rely on our old strengths. And I think then it's exactly for the regulators, both in Brussels as well as in member states, to look at that we are having business-friendly environment that is really encouraging and facilitating that kind of investments for the future strengths. And of course I think that you all know kind of Juncker Commission flagship initiatives. We are having, I think, the investment plan, or so-called Juncker plan, which is trying to look not only infrastructure investments but also strategic industrial investments. We are having, of course, digital single market strategy in place. it covers wide range of issues that I think that are market related, but also I think to a certain extent, of course, I think that perhaps kind of a standardization or kind of a platforms or data type of the issues where, of course, I think that they are either to be regulated or other way to addressed. And of course I think that that's kind of a long list of kind of deliverables that were already identified in that. Then we are now working on circular economy. We have also, I think, that had already the energy union package, and even if they are not necessarily digitalization as such, but if you are looking at kind of solutions that are coming from the clean tech side, I think that they are very often very much related to digitalization or the use of the ICTs in an innovative way, to make energy use or resource use kind of a real kind of a asset also for European industries. Then we are having also the internal market strategy still to be adopted, but of course I think that all these kind of flagships are covering very relevant industrial policy issues. Perhaps what is missing now is I think that what we have been discussing, and I think that it's a certain kind of a scaling up and really having kind of a narrative around those elements that can be found already from the flagship initiatives. And I think that really look at how these kind of national, regional, even the local initiatives are having certain kind of a platform also here in the European Union level. And we started already 2 years ago with the kind of stakeholders dialogue with the business leaders, academia, international organizations, social partners, and government representatives, and that was called a Strategic Policy Forum on Digital Transformation, and they issued a kind of report March this year. It was not complete set of recommendations, but I think that they were really trying to dig deep into kind of different kind of policy issues that has to be assessed in different layers of the administration and government in Europe. There has been Commissioner Oettinger, there has been Commissioner Bieńkowska, different type of the gatherings where we have tried really to assess together with the stakeholders how really to proceed. And I think now there is also sometime soon, I think at the 2nd of December, that Madam Bieńkowska is organizing the high-level conference on digital transformation of European industry and enterprises, and I guess that's then kind of event to visit as well. Perhaps secondly, if we look at the kind of modernization process, and I think that from the digitalization point of view, of course I think that we have had identification in the digital single market that we have to look how these digital platforms or platform economy is evolving in Europe, and I think that how value is created, and I think that how value is captured in these kind of new value chains. And of course we are having a lot of discussions about what is the role of big digital platforms coming from the other side of the Atlantic compared to the kind of European kind of players, and I think that how then we could say that I think we are having the level playing field, and I think that everybody feels confident in these kind of new kind of business platforms. We have addressed big data, sensors, innovative business models. I think they are very much addressed, and I think there is now under preparations the priority ICT standards plan. There is, I think, very much question now, I think, that how we assess the ownership and I think that the access rights for data, and I think comparing kind of a personal data and a non-personal data, I think there has been very many views expressed how it should be addressed, and of course that's ongoing discussion. But we have clearly, I think, identified also certain sectors that have been already benefiting, and I think that seeing the kind of a new type of the business models like pharmaceuticals, and even if we look the kind of automotive value chain, we can say that I think that in a couple of years' time, something like 40% might pass through the kind of a digital platforms of what is generated by the whole of our European automotive sector. And of course, I think it's a question that I think that we have to have certain kind of confidence in this kind of new environment that we are having around us. And I think then it's really looking kind of a legal framework that we are having in place. And of course, I think that's where we are doing both digital single market and internal market strategy is very much devoted to that. But it's also, I think, that really trying to identify value chain specific barriers that are really hampering the investments for the kind of a new type of the technologies. And I think that's also related very much to kind of not only the investment package as such, but also I think that how we are using our different kind of instruments available to us. And I think today we were also discussing on capital market union, which is very much, I think, really trying to identify new type of the financial instruments available to those companies that are really now trying to invest on their new kind of business processes and models. I think that we were asked to limit ourselves in 7 minutes, and I guess that I have spent 6.5, so that it's time to say thank you, and someone else is